So that's all the zest I got. Here's all the juice from that one lemon. Remember, take out all those seeds. And look how many seeds there are. That was just one lemon and how many seeds. So we're gonna add this into our pot. I've already got the oranges and the 6 cups of water. We're gonna add all of our lemon juice and all of our zest. Every little bit into the pot. Okay. And I've got our great wooden spoon, and I can stir it all together. And then, of course, we're gonna add in the sugar. All right, this is always the fun part, all that sugar going in, woo! All right, remember I did reduce it by 12 ounces and I increased the oranges. So hopefully we'll have a much better, there was debris in our, that was a piece of paper from the bag, sorry. So, look at that. Hey. All right, so we're gonna stir this all together. I've got the heat on medium-high. We're gonna bring it to a boil, and we're gonna continue to boil it. I'm gonna turn the heat down so it doesn't burn on the bottom. And I will stir it every so often. And we need to cook it until we reach 222 degrees Fahrenheit on a candy thermometer. All right, so that is actually gonna take quite a while. All right, so we're just gonna have to keep checking on it and see how it's doing. Doesn't that look gorgeous? Okay, so here is the problem. We've gotten the temperature up to that point, the 222 point, but it still has a lot of liquid and it does not look very thick. So I turned the heat down a great deal and see how that liquid, so if I make this again, it should be 4 cups of water, not 6 cups. And, you know, the other thing, the fallacy is that when it reaches that temperature, it doesn't mean it's set. It stays there, and it can stay there at a long time. You just don't want to get it too much higher because then you might burn the bottom. So you have to constantly stir this, and we have to keep an eye on the temperature. So this is where it's tricky when it comes to making marmalade or candies. It's this temperature difference. If you cook it any higher, you could get hard crack orange candy and a big rock of candy. And if you cook it even further, you'll get caramel. You'd have an orange caramel sauce going. But so it's a constant stirring, temperature watching, heat adjusting. All right, and now that's even up too high. We want to simmer it to burn off all that excess water. All right, so that's going to take a while. All right, so sorry, the video's in the background going on, but our mixture is looking a bit thicker. It's still very loose, but it's almost at 250, so we got to make sure we don't go too high. Now, how can we test this? We're supposed to be able to put this on a plate. Then you put the plate in the fridge and let it set up and cool. And when it's cooled, is at the consistency of jelly or marmalade, you know that it's ready. I believe it's probably not ready, but I'll test it out anyhow. Okay, let's check this and see if it's set. No, it has not set. It's thick, but it's not thick enough. It shouldn't move at all on the plate. So that's how you can tell. All right, so even though it has reached that temperature, it's still not thick enough. So I've got to continue cooking this and stirring it, and I'm gonna have to wait. Visually eyeballing it, so you can see, and look how thin that is, okay? That's still very, very thin. We've got to continue to boil off, stirring, boiling. This takes a long time. So right now it is 10:10, and I've been boiling this since about 8:30. All right, so let's see how long this takes. It takes a long time. All right, so I'm gonna just keep boiling it and letting the water evaporate, cooking it down till it gets very thick. All right, so look, here is a new amount, and now this time it's barely moving. So it's definitely getting to the right consistency. That's what we're looking for. If you look right into the pot too, you can see how much it's boiled down. Now it looks much thicker, and let's check the temperature. It's definitely at that 222. It's 100 degrees Celsius, so you know, this is looking great. Now I'm just going to double check it. So I know I just put that in the fridge. I just want to double check it again to make sure, because this takes so long. I don't want to mess it up at the last minute. So I'm going to put this in the fridge, let it set, make sure it doesn't move. Okay, hi everybody. So the marmalade has had time to cool. It definitely got to the right consistency and temperature for me to turn it off. The only problem is that it tastes bitter. Now, I did take out a lot of the sugar. So I had taken out 12 ounces of sugar, but I had also increased the amount of oranges. So, I mean, that could be one of the reasons why it's tasting bitter. I was going to change this to 4 cups of water, and then I thought, no, I better keep it at the 6 cups, because maybe during all that cooking process, that's what helps to get rid of that bitter taste. I just need to know that it'll take a long time to cook. And, but that still means I'm stuck with a pot full of bitter marmalade. Now, I'm not a huge fan of marmalade myself, so it just could be that it's just not sweet enough for me. I have a very sensitive palate, and this is not exactly what I was looking for. The true test would be whether or not I take it home to my son who loves marmalade, or my mom, and if they think it's bitter. But since they're not here, and I really don't want to waste time bringing it home all the way and having them taste testing it for me, I did want to come up with a solution. I did want to find out, what can I do? This is already cooked, it's ready to go. And so, yes, I Googled it, okay? I don't really know anybody who makes marmalade personally all the time to call and ask and see what their solution was. So I did Google it, and there was a recommendation of adding honey. So I have in my measuring cup right here a 1/2 cup of honey. And I am simply going to stir that in. All right, so now honey is a lot healthier for us than just plain white granulated refined sugar. And so it should be interesting to see if that, and I got to stir that in, of course, and this is still very hot. So I'm going to just let it cool on a plate first and then taste it and see if that helps. So I got to stir it quite a bit. So I'll come back and tell you how it tastes. Okay, so that definitely cut down on the bitter taste. There was a 1/2 cup of honey at the end. And 2.5 pounds, 2.5 pounds of oranges, 1 lemon, 6 cups of water, 3 pounds of sugar, and then the 1/2 cup of honey at the end. And this is time consuming. It did take several hours to cook on the stove, so it was about 4 hours to get to that consistency. So I gotta cook for 4 hours. And test it on a plate to make sure the consistency is correct, okay? So every time I do a recipe, I'm tweaking it, trying to improve it, testing it, reducing the sugar in it. And we want to make it perfect. So this one, unfortunately, is not completely perfect to my liking. So should I make it again, I'll probably want to test it some more. But we do have that other orange marmalade recipe. And as soon as I'm finished making that, then we can compare. Because even though I started that one earlier, remember, it had to sit in the refrigerator for 2 days. And then we can start cooking it. So I'll be working on that next. All right, everybody. And then I can taste compare the two and let you know which one is the winner. Okay, bye guys.